Hi class, my name is Darren Gertis. I designed the leadership program, and in the last year we've seen something that has changed the way that we had to do some of our business. So for example, we had some great prompts for discussions and papers, but ChatGPT caused a rash of cheating. So we designed some things differently, and it makes it a little bit more complicated, but it's to ensure academic integrity. So in a previous semester, I actually failed 7 students for cheating with AI. That means ChatGPT, that means Grammarly, that means Perplexity, that means all sorts of AI. And students thought that they were gaming the system because they had AI do something and then they wrote in their own words, but it still picked up the AI and it was still off message. You really need to get into the book. Just read the book and do your own work. That's the way to get there. Now, because of AI, we had to redesign some of the assignments. So for example, we require screenshots from the book. It can be a physical book or it could be the e-reader. And knowing that most of you have e-readers, I'm going to show you how this is done. So let's say that the paper is about 3 characteristics of great groups. You might write something like this. Great groups have a number of similarities. According to Bennis, 1996, great groups have extraordinary leaders, they often work in shabby conditions, and they often have unrealistic expectations that propel them forward. First, great groups have extraordinary leaders. According to Bennis, 1996, they are all led by extraordinary leaders. But there's a downside. These groups tend to founder when those great leaders leave or die. So what you're hearing in that is some specificity from the book. And if you're just saying vague platitudes about great groups that ChatGPT can develop, your professors will hear that and you won't do well. Second, great groups tend to do their best work in unattractive environments. They are not as concerned with their surroundings as they are with the work. Bennis, 1996, Chapter 1. Finally, great groups do not know what they cannot achieve. According to Bennis, 1996, Chapter 1, they have achieved more because they do not limit themselves. What does that mean for me? I need to recognize, and then you go on and talk about how it applies to you personally. Now, this is different than what AI would generate. AI will go and say vague things about leadership that might sound good to you, but it's not from the book. Don't trust it. Get into the book. I'm just going to show you how the highlighting process works, and then I'll show you what you should be doing. As you're reading the book, you want to go and highlight it. Now, if you go in the upper right-hand corner here, you can change the settings. I like to make the font size bigger. That's just me. You don't have to, but it just reads easier when you do that. By the way, if you click on the text-to-speech controls here, you can play the book and make it read to you. And I would highly suggest that you do that.
The end of the great man, none of us is as smart as all of us. The myth of the triumphant individual is deeply ingrained in the American psyche. Whether it is Midnight Rider Paul Revere or basketball's Michael Jordan in the 1990s.
Okay, so you've got the idea. Now, as you're reading through, you're going to want to take notes. Highlight along the way. So, great groups have other commonalities. They have extraordinary leaders, and as a corollary, they tend to lose their way when they lose their leadership, just as Disney did after Walt's death in 1996. So you would select that, and then you would highlight it. Now, when you highlight it, it goes over to Notes and Highlights, and you can see the highlights that you've selected. Now, for the paper, you're simply going to do a small screenshot of what you just highlighted there. And then you would do a screenshot of maybe some other highlights here and here. Now, when you're done with that, you'll go back to your Blackboard page. You'll copy and paste the paper that you've already worked out and pop it in place. But you're not done yet, and you're not going to do well unless you take the next step. You need to prove to me that you've been in the book. So you simply go here, you click on Image, you'll upload the file of whichever image you want to put in place, and click Next. So I said these groups tend to founder when those great leaders leave or die. The quote said that they all have extraordinary leaders, and as a corollary, they tend to lose their way when they lose their leadership, just as Disney did after Walt's death in 1996. Now you can repeat the process again and again as many times as you need to. Again, we're going to upload the file and pop it into place, and we'll do it one more time. So now all that you need is to talk about how this applies to you, but you have properly cited both with the APA here and by adding the screenshot here. And after you hit enter, you'll see the assignment appear just like this. I know that's an extra harassment, but it helps your professor know that you've been in the book doing the research from the book, not somewhere else. Thank you for watching this. Please understand that we ask you to do extra steps like this or take your tests behind a Respondus lockdown browser because we're interested in academic integrity. We want your degree to mean something, and we want you to have the knowledge in your head when you leave this place. Thank you so much for your time.